London highs. So we did sweep Asia high. We did sweep Asia high during London. So, all right, let's get into this. We got the London high. We got this daily low, which is a very good target in my opinion. Looks like a really, really good target. Yeah, we got some news coming out. And then yeah, I guess Trump is speaking, huh? They keep adding that on the calendar like every day because it's not on there the previous day. Yeah, I'm not sure if we'll get that manipulation higher. We could. We definitely could, Randy. We definitely could. I see what happened during the Asia session here. And then we took the Asia highs and we continued to trade higher, and now we're just kind of range bound, right? But we do have these lows here, these lows, and then this final target of the daily low. So be interesting to see how this market opens up. We could dump off and take out this low. We could possibly take out this low, trade back to the high. It could be an ugly day, honestly, of trading. It could be pretty ugly, especially with the market open. All this consolidation. We'll see what the first 5 to 15 minutes gives us, but yeah, we're trading right around that midnight open as well. So not a whole lot of levels to look at here. Not a whole bunch, right? We do have the 9:30 liquidity from yesterday still is open. Still open down here. So anybody who was long in the market yesterday might have their stops at like break even or stops still below this low. Mhm. Wow, what is this? Open backtesting report. Hmm. Interesting. Has that been there? I just haven't noticed it. Hmm. I think they updated the UI a little bit here. Hmm. Interesting. All right, so opening up, making a little move to the downside right away. Now ES hasn't taken that Asia low, so it's currently SMT, but it's looking like price might want to follow suit with NQ, right? Take out that Asia low. We've yet to hit one of these standard deviations, so something to keep in mind as well. Yeah, this daily low looks really good, man. It's just I don't know if it's gonna give us an entry here. Yeah, we got equal low or equal highs above there. Equal highs with no S&T, so this is it's a little tricky. Yeah, if we can trade into that order block, breaking that low, right? Well, if you want to call it an order block. I guess technically this would be the like the breaker, I guess. But yeah, just this down close candle back into this consolidation range. Yeah, this London high might be protected though. That London high definitely could be protected. We did sweep the Asia high, and now we're just running for low resistance liquidity. Now, I definitely would have liked to see it trade higher, like you were saying, Randy. But I think this might have given us that manipulation to start trading lower here, to be honest with you. Unless we're just completely range bound here, right? We start range trading, we come back up here, and then we sweep down here and we just kind of range trade for the day. But I don't really see that happening. Yeah, it's a little tricky shorting here, right? Because price could easily come back up here and sweep these highs. Come back to midnight open. But price is respecting that fair value gap right off the bat. First 5 minutes just opening up with a big red candle, 60 points there. We're just slowly trading down, right? In this range. Yeah, we'll just be patient here. See what the first 5 to 15 minutes gives us, like I said. So we got price coming up. Could be balancing this range here. Price wicks up into the bottom half of this candle. To that bottom wick. Looks like price is consolidating here to go lower, to be honest. But I don't like how we leave that liquidity right there above. Just kind of tanking right off the rip. Yeah, and then we also have you know, the news at 10. That's a factor. News coming up. Yo, what up, Peter? How's it going, man? So ES just barely tapping into that Asia low there. I think we start to see price roll over towards some of this low resistance liquidity on ES, to be honest. To be honest with you. Leaving equal highs there on the 1 minute though. Leaving some equal highs. Yeah, so there's the 9:30 liquidity from yesterday about to be ran. See what the weekly looks like here on a Friday. Weekly low is way down there. So I think this daily low is about as extreme as this might get, to be honest. Yeah, the short wasn't too bad. I was looking to take that, but I think I was a little hesitant there. But yeah, tapping into that 930 liquidity right there from yesterday. Pretty good. I think in hindsight, this would have been a good entry right here after we saw price come up and trade bearish as well. I think it's going to be one of those range bound days, to be honest. Let's see. Still got 3 minutes. 2.5 minutes on this candle. On this 15-minute candle. All right, so getting a reaction out of that area there on the 1 minute. Still have yet to trade into a standard deviation, so just chilling. Yes, it's kind of lagging behind. Just barely taking that Asia low. But we have PM session lows from yesterday. Lunch hour lows. There's a lot of low resistance liquidity down here, man. Definitely see this start to roll over. All right, so that first 15-minute candle closing pretty bearish there. First 3 candles bearish. Trading up into that 1 minute fair value gap. Yeah, not much here on the 5 minute. Got this little fair value gap here, but obviously not retesting it. And then we just got this 15-minute candle spooling. So getting into that 1 standard deviation. See if we just blast right through it. think this would be my max target for the day, would be this 2 standard deviation and trading back into that daily bearish candle, that consolidation range on the daily, right? Trading back into here. I think that's kind of my max target. I think if we reach that before we get some type of entry, then I'll just call it a no trade today. Because at that point, I think, we come down here, we might get some type of reaction, but we'll probably fizzle out for the rest of the day. And honestly, we're getting pretty close to 10 a.m. here, so getting close to 10 a.m. and we're not consolidating. So what I'm thinking 10 a.m. does, if we don't reach this daily low and we don't reach into this daily consolidation area, when 10 a.m. rolls around, I think that's going to be the driving factor to give us that last little push. But yeah. It's a Friday though, don't have to push it too hard. I'm already up on the week. Pretty decent amount, so. Yeah, so we're leaving behind a lot of lows, right? So we got, or highs, excuse me. We got the high from 9:30 open, 9:35, 9:40, and now 9:45, right? Ideally, when price is spooling like this, you can maybe see one of these highs get ran, and looking for an entry model similar to Jonah, right? Where you can basically get in on a turtle soup entry when price is spooling like this. A lot like yesterday when I added to my position yesterday. Don't remind me of my model. I'm just saying, like yesterday, how we had the setup, didn't catch it. Yeah, it's tough, man. But like yesterday when we were spooling like this, right? We were in on this position. You saw me add to my position here, right? Because we were sweeping the high of this high candle. And if price is going to continue bearish, it's going to take some highs for liquidity, right? And then continue to dump. Some people might get caught offside here and trying to trade higher, but same here, when price is trading higher, breaks the low of that candle just barely and continues higher. And sometimes this trades into a fair value gap. It's a turtle soup entry. Yeah, because basically all your setup, your setup essentially like a turtle soup, right? You know what I mean? It's just you're waiting for extra confirmation, right? So like in this situation, like if this candle right here came up and took this high, this would have been really nice, right? We come up, we take that high and then drive lower. But the fact that we just continue lower, it's not giving us really any opportunity. But you have to recognize when price is spooling too. You can't just be like in this choppiness. You can't be in consolidation and use that, right? Like if you're trying to trade highs and lows of candles in consolidation, like it's not going to work. Price has to be spooling towards a target, right? So in this situation, when price is spooling down to this daily low, that's when we would be looking for a high to be ran, right? And it would be like basically a fake change in the state of delivery on the 1 minute time frame. But we didn't get that, right? We didn't get no change in the state of delivery. Yeah, I feel that, Frank. You're just trying to get some base hits, get some wins going, get some confidence back. I feel that, man. That's kind of where I was the past 2 weeks. I was just trying to build my accounts back up and just get some reps back in, get some good quality trade setups and let it rock, you know. Yeah, and I think that's what's good about like getting in here and trading in the Discord every day and like, you can bounce off of each other for feedback and like share your ideas. I mean, we're all going through it together. You guys see me at my highs and you see me at lows. I was taking payouts on my accounts and blowing them, a couple weeks later. But that's the reality of trading, you know? It is the reality. You can cut down on those mistakes, but you have to realize like you're not alone in this game. And I think I talk about this all the time, and higher elite traders talk about this too, is like trading in groups, trading in teams, because you look at the big prop firms in the space, like you got S&B Capital in New York City. You know, they go in the office every day and they have like 5 different teams. They got risk management, they got psychology, they got strategy, they got all these different things to help you succeed as a trader. And we're just alone. We're alone in this retail space. So yeah, on side with price today, definitely on side, but couldn't really get the entry we were looking for. In hindsight, these would have been good entries anywhere here. But you can't always just go off of intuition, because or kind of guessing, right? Because there's no real setup here, in my opinion, yet. Price just spooling down to this daily low, but you know, it's definitely a good ego. It's good for the ego, being right about price here, but I don't really feel FOMO. You know what I mean? I'm already up on the week, but could have been an opportunity here. I just didn't really like how we have equal highs up here, and we formed this fair value gap in this 935 candle looked pretty good, right? This 935 candle looked pretty good, but yeah, just not a whole lot of opportunity. But NQ is pretty notorious for that. I'm not gonna lie, NQ is notorious. Now this is where we could sweep that high, right? We could sweep that high though and trade up into this fair value gap, right? Like we talked about, and continue down to this low. But the risk to reward is very minute. We are already trading into that daily consolidation zone. We just haven't traded into the open of that price. So this is where I wouldn't want to really just rip a sell, because if this comes back and closes above, right? And we close above here, this would be a V-shaped recovery leading into the 10 a.m. news event. So but let's see if Jonah gets a model here. Unfortunately, it's before 10 a.m. though. Yeah, I mean, like obviously, I don't think I would really take this before the news because there's probably gonna be some type of movement, right? Consumer sentiment and inflation expectations. Interesting. Yeah, I think it was last week we closed the trade before like 30 seconds before news hit and news like came in and would have just annihilated my stop loss and slipped me. So that was definitely a good thing to remember. Yeah, I think I remember that. I think I remember that you were in on that trade as well. Yeah, I closed that shit. I think it depends too, like what is happening before the news. If you're seeing a lot of consolidation, you can expect that 10 a.m. candle to rip, right? But when we've seen a move like this, don't really know how much movement you're gonna get out of don't really know how much movement you're gonna get out of that 10 a.m. news event. You know what I mean? Now, I do think this is the hardest part about trading. And this is something I really do struggle with. My target has already been met, right? My daily low, we reached into this consolidation area. There's not much more I can do for the day. Like this is where I need to walk away and like I can't be looking for a long setup now back into NYSE open. You know what I mean? Because that's what kills you because if I take a long setup, right, we invert this fair value gap and I'm like, okay, I want to take a long back into NYSE, open it, and it continues to dump, and I'm gonna be racking my brain. I know I will. I'm gonna be like, we met our targets. I was short on the day, and I'm taking longs. Like, why am I doing that? You know what I mean? Whereas like, it could play out, right? I take this setup here back into NYSC open and it plays out, but it's not really following my rules and my system. I wouldn't be like happy about that, right? But if it comes back down here, takes me out, right? Then I'm going to be pretty upset because I'm giving back profits on a Friday. Know what I mean? So there's that 10 a.m. news event like we talked about, reaching that final target, right? That's exactly what we were saying, how that 10 a.m. candle might open up and complete that move. And it actually did it by the point, trading back into that daily closure or that daily open, right? Immediately getting a reaction off that range. Pretty crazy. Yeah, sweeping that liquidity right away. ES finally rolled over there. Yeah, we need to see how Friday kind of pans out, right? Like the rest of today. If this PM session just kind of fizzles out and we close like this on the daily, I don't really have a bias going into next week. It could possibly, we could see more expansion. But if this Friday candle completely slams down and we start trading into this consolidation range, I would say the lows here are good targets for next week. But we are respecting this consolidation area and this daily fair value gap. So until we can invert that, I would say price is still bullish on the weekly profile, right? But just kind of depends what's going to happen. Yes, it's still pretty weak, huh? Trading into that fair value gap. That previous daily high is way up there. Not looking at that as a target. I'm just seeing where that daily high was. So price trading up into that 15-minute fair value gap, right? It's looking pretty bullish when you look at it on the 5-minute here, but we can easily roll over and continue taking some of these lows. Yeah, there are some big moves going on for sure. I'd be careful about that buy, man. I'd be careful about it. We got a nice little inversion on the 5-minute here, but we are tapping into a 15-minute fair value gap, and we've already swept the low of the day. So, like I say, if the low gets swept, I'm not looking for the previous day's high, so then I kind of remain bearish on this day. So It's a little tricky. Yeah, Frank, I'm really trying to practice discipline. I made a mistake the other day. I said I was done trading. I ended stream and I was done trading, and then I looked at the chart 2 hours later and I was like, "Oh, there's a buy here." Took the buy and ended up losing in like 2 minutes. Took a small loss. Well, not a small loss, but I basically took a loss for no reason. I said I was done trading, and then like I took one trade, and then I was just like, all right, like that's the lesson there. That's the lesson. Because I did so good, I didn't practice discipline, no trade, no trade. Then like 2 hours later, just a random time, like 12:30, 1 o'clock, I was like, oh, this looks okay. Nope, instantly burned. Yeah, yeah, or not taking a trade on the day. It just feels kind of bad, but I think it's something you got to train yourself to do. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. It was like me when I first started trading 1 to 2 trades a day. It was so hard. It was so hard to only take one or two quality setups because I was taking like 5 to 10 trades a day on the 1 minute, just completely going crazy. And but once you get in the habit of it, I think it becomes easier. It'd be the same thing with like no trades. There's days where you can refrain and just, keep a calm level head. It's a lot easier when you're winning though. When I'm up on the week, I'm up on the week. I've won a bunch. It's a lot easier to be like, all right, I can walk away. I can no trade today. But, say I lost 3 trades already this week, or I was down 3 days. It might be really hard to end the week and just say, "Hey, I'm done. I'm not going to take a trade today," because like obviously you want to try to get some type of performance. But every day's a new day, in the market. And you never know what you're going to get. Sometimes you might get a 1 to 8. Sometimes you might get a 1 to 1. Sometimes you might overtrade, and now that's something you can control. But yeah, I mean, the long doesn't look too bad, but also we are trading into that 15 minute. And this was the manipulation here. So I'm very curious if we get back up to this midnight open NYSE liquidity, right? Getting a pretty strong reaction off that consolidation on the daily. Gonna get off, Frank? Yeah, it's tempting. Price is moving, man. Price is definitely moving for a Friday. It's tough. Yeah, if I had to, if I had to pinpoint or still have a bias, it would be short, right? Because we are trading back up into a premium here. So, and a 15-minute fair value gap. We could reverse from here, but you would need this 15-minute candle to this next 15-minute candle to trade higher above here for me to say that we're going to trade higher to this midnight open because we did have a bullish engulfing here, right? That's closing in 3 minutes. But inversely, you know, you can be bullish here, and this could be an entry, right? We swept liquidity down here. Now we're trading higher. We trade below this low, trade into the inverse fair value gap, trade higher. You know, it would look something probably like that if you were to take that. But yeah. I think this 15-minute fair value gap gives issues though, you know, if you're long, right? And you would basically be saying, "Hey, I want to see this 30-minute candle go completely bullish and engulf this 930 candle completely." Same with the hourly, right? So it's a little ambitious. $15-minute fair value gap. Yeah. Sweeping this 1 minute. Look how weak ES still is, man. This could be a telltale sign that we want to start trading lower, right? Sweeping liquidity here from that 940 candle. This candle looks a little weird though. Yeah, pretty crazy candles here, honestly. You know, right off the open, 4 red candles into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 5 green candles working on our 6th. So price is definitely moving today. Definitely moving. Yeah, I think we're trading in like a little channel here too. This could be you know, like the bottom of this channel essentially, and now we're trading to the top of the range. We're just range bound, right, for a Friday. So You know, we could see price trade up into this NYSE open and just kind of fizzle out. And then next week we trade higher, but definitely had a huge reaction off of that area. So now we're getting that big V-shaped recovery, bullish 15-minute, but I'm still trading into this 15-minute fair value gap. So it's really hard to have a bias here. But I would say if we sweep one of these lows right here, maybe trade into this fair value gap and we start closing above, then I would say, you know, we're pretty bullish at that point. If we swept one of these lows right here and then closed above, I would say that price is pretty bullish, right? Yeah. Yeah, we could be in the middle of price making a leg to this NYSE open, right? It's not very common to see the NYSE open left untouched, right? Where like it sells off completely the whole day. A lot of the times you will see this NYSE open get traded back into, not all the time, but most of the time, right? Like yesterday we didn't have the NYSE open traded back to, but today we instantly ran for it, right? This open price down here traded to it in the first 15 minutes. But yeah, Jonah, I think this is what's a little tricky because I think this is possibly a true reversal. And then you could see your model play out down here, right? Because it's a 15-minute bullish engulfing. Still short. Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. Yeah, we're starting to see some price action slow down here. But to be expected, we had a lot of good movement out of the first hour of the open. So yeah, so sweeping the low of that 5 minute there, taking some of that low resistance liquidity. You can see On the 5 minute, you see these lows here. That's just stacked liquidity, right? So we already took two of those candles. Interested to see if we dig into this fair value gap right here. Dig into that fair value gap and also take out that final low. Essentially accumulation, right? Manipulation, and then higher prices. Yeah, then 10 a.m. news came in and immediately took out that low exactly where we were looking, to the point. Yeah, a line chart always gives you pretty good clarity. Like market structure. So sweeping that low, getting a change in the state here. But this is where you would look to get long after making that change in the state, expecting this to be a fake change in the state, right? If you can get a closure back above this candle. Kind of interesting to look at the line chart sometimes. It really like simplifies things, but you can't see fair value gaps and stuff. That's the only downside. Yeah, this looks pretty bullish to me, not gonna lie. Looks pretty bullish. There's a bullish setup right there. Right. You can see it on the line chart too, right? So you had that change in the state, and now you're changing the state again, right? And the overall trend has flipped to bullish. So interesting to see if this actually plays out. But really starting to slow down in price. You can see the candles are really, really small. Also have this untouched fair value gap and untouched inverse fair value gap. So if you were to take this, it's like your stops have to be like way down here, honestly. Unfortunately. There's that fair value gap traded into. A price can still trade into this discount, right? Could come up and trade into that level. Yeah, look at that. Look at that 1 minute there. Yeah, it's tricky here. It's definitely tricky. You know, you're trading right up into a 15-minute fair value gap. Very tricky. Definitely engineering some liquidity here, but the thing is, after we made this move to the upside, and now we're consolidating. This is why I'm saying, like, I'm leaning a little bit more bullish, because if price was to go lower, you wouldn't see this V-shaped recovery like this. Now that we had this V shape and now we're consolidating, I don't think we're consolidating because we're in the 15-minute fair value gap. We're just consolidating to grab some orders to go higher. Price already showed its hand at the daily, right? Reacting off of that daily, giving us a 15-minute bullish, or 15-minute bullish engulfing, giving us an inverse fair value gap, balancing this price range. So I think this is vulnerable, right? This is vulnerable. Don't know about the London highs, but these equal highs are definitely vulnerable. Now you could see too, like, look at this is just accumulation, right? Manipulation with this candle below this low into a fair value gap into higher prices, right? And you can even see it on the 1 minute. You know, accumulation isn't always sideways. Accumulation could be like this, you know, a rising channel, you know. So at this point, you know, I would say that this would be like the trade, I guess. But not engaging on it. Just staying disciplined. I'm already up on the week. Don't got to get back profits at all. Mm. Yeah, look how weak ES still is. ES shows no signs of wanting to come back up. Yeah, and this is where I'd be glad I didn't take this trade too, you know what I mean? Or this is where I'd be upset that I took this trade. Because as good as this looks, right? As good as this might look, it can still go against you, and the market's going to do whatever it wants. And I would be giving back profit, sitting in drawdown, asking myself why the hell I took this trade when I'm up on the week. This is why we don't engage. Below the consequent encroachment of this fair value gap, or the 5 minute, or what you mean here? It's like right at it, right? Yeah, this one, this bullish engulfing closed above, and then these are closing below. So it's very tough. Like, this is price action. It's definitely tough. The only reason I say higher prices is just because of this 10 a.m. candle right here, V-shaped recovery into consolidation. It's just, I'm expecting some type of manipulation like this, and then higher prices, right? But stops, like, if I was to really, really take this trade, I would give this probably a 200 tick stop, or, even bigger. Maybe, if I only went in with one contract and then put my stop loss right here, right, and risk less. Because you guys see, I give my trades a little bit more room to breathe. And if we have an untouched inverse fair value gap, that's something I would want to be aware of, right? And I would want my stops below here at least. I preferably like to be below lows of candles, right? So like on the hourly, like in the 4 hour, this is the low on the 4 hour, right? Yesterday we put our stop loss above the 4 hour high. You know what I mean? Those are more valid areas, I feel like, but you know. So yeah, but definitely would be upset about taking this trade right now, sitting in drawdown on a Friday at 10:35 when I want to get off the chart. You know what I mean? But yeah, I would still say this looks like that manipulation. Like, there's no true move to the downside coming in yet, and we did leave these equal highs as of now. So you're probably going to see price really start to move towards here now that we've made two manipulation legs to the downside, right? So we have manipulation, manipulation. We could really start to see price. And these two legs traded into a fair value gap and an inverse fair value gap. So But yeah, guys, I think that's gonna wrap it up for me. I'm not gonna take any trades, so I think that's gonna wrap up the week for me. And I got a wedding to shoot this weekend, so I gotta get ready for that. And that's gonna be fun. It's gonna be hot. It's gonna be really hot. But yeah, today we might see this liquidity get taken, but not expecting much for the rest of the day. I think we got some really, really clean movement for a Friday. I think we got some really clean movement, but I wouldn't expect much for the rest of the day, to be honest. Maybe a PM session could go lower, could go higher, but you know, we did have some clean movement. But